people can have a difficult time suing if a teacher or a boss or an employee misgenders them, right?
Everyone is a woman. Bro, what are you on?
They've made it such that male and female is basically just the same thing. It also makes it much more difficult for people with X as their gender marker to actually legally exist.
How much lying have you been doing up to this point?
Let's just start lying. Sure. Waiting to be homophobic, waiting to be transphobic.
Y'all just aren't listening. Y'all just write it off. No, that's just transphobia. No, that's just transphobia. No, that's just transphobia.
Why am I dancing with that trans person?
And their lighting is even worse than mine somehow. So, hey, I don't know if I've covered this person before. This is Too Depressed to Laugh. Trump wages war against trans people. Oh, they're also friends with Wolfie's apps. This person is a fucking snake. Listen, Too Depressed to Laugh. Do not trust. Be careful. Be very careful. Anyway. Trump wages war against trans people. Let's have a look.
Well, I might be trans femme, but I sure don't like this pickle we're in. The shingles are better, by the way. Thank you for the well wishes. So,
hey, trans femme better than I'm a woman.
Everyone seems to be aware of, the biggest clown in America's history has now become the leader of the free world. Again. So let's get right into it. Trump has waged war against transgender people, amongst other demographics, but we'll be focusing on transgender people today because that's sort of what the channel is, right? And right off the top, we've discussed...
Can't see what this says behind. Yeah, nose ring, not to mention. Off center, off kilter. Always drives me insane. Listen, I used to have a septum piercing. I lost my septum ring a little while before I started my channel. I couldn't be fucked getting a new one because I hated the stigma. I never wore one of those shitty ones with the screw on like balls or like points on the end because they just fall out constantly because they're never straight. They're so annoying. Get a fucking clicker. So much easier. Anyway.
Discussed this already, but please remain hopeful. I've talked about this in my...
Okay, positivity. I'll at least accept that, you know. It's not a high bar, but...
my Dear Trans People video, and I hope that you've seen enough media or seen enough support or seen enough resources since the election was verified up until this point to like still have a reason to hang on. Definitely the emotions I felt on the 20th were different than the emotions I felt back in November. It feels so miserable. However, here we are, and we have to kind of stick around. And like I've discussed, we're not...
Again, I'll take it. A bit of positivity. You don't hear it very often.
killing ourselves. We're just not. I know it's dismal. I know it sucks out here. I know being alive...
Is it dismal? Someone's taken over. Whether your life is now worse because of it really depends on a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Trump should have called it the TRA content creator stimulus bill. Yeah, Jesus Christ. The amount of people scaremongering, lying, making money off this shit.
It feels like living a constant arduous journey that people don't want you to make any progress towards. Sort of not even Sisyphean because they don't even let you make progress. They sort of just prevent you from rolling the hurdle.
What? What are we talking about?
Older in the first place. I get it. It's tough. And like being aware that the federal government and just the systems of law set...
That behind him on the left, did he win Wimbledon? I don't think so. I'm still trying to work out what this is. It says isn't a man at the bottom. Something your own... I don't know.
Place for us, headed by a trifecta of Republican power, is not going to protect our best interests. Knowing that is trash, for sure. We're allowed to feel some type of way about this. Some type of way meaning that this sucks.
You're allowed to feel a certain way, whether it's rational or not, really isn't like... really isn't what matters here, I guess. And the thing is, if you're going to start scaremongering, then that's a whole other issue.
However, trans people have existed, do exist, and will continue to exist. Have always, do always, will always. And no legal definition of who we are or what gender is going to ever get rid of us.
Yeah, that's fine. Why is there still so long to go? Oh no.
Morality does not proceed law. It precedes it. So with that in mind, a lack of morality does also precede law in some cases.
By the way, you ever wondered why I don't hold my microphone and swing it around while I'm talking? It's because you can literally hear the microphone. You can literally hear something clanking. It's very distracting. Hey, listen, too depressed to laugh. Here's my advice to you. Mic stand. Put it in front of you. Talk into it. You don't need to do... I mean, you can hear it. It's the same noise. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. It's probably powered. It's probably quite powerful. You don't need to do any of that
cases. All that law does is enact what the governing body thinks is within its power to exercise control of. So yeah, sure, like even if it's illegal to be trans, even if like...
Well, it's not illegal to be trans.
Systems are put into place to make sure that we're like eradicated.
But that's not what's happening.
We can't be eradicated. Maybe by legal definition, but biologically and socially, we're still going to be around. So the language, the very...
Wait. Hang on. That doesn't make any sense. If transition wasn't legal and you couldn't like physically transition by any means, then how are you gonna biologically be yourself? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense.
But biologically and socially, we're still going to be around. So the language, the very, very, very thin fucking like 20th turn of the Jenga round language that these conservative lawmakers are using to sort of flex their political muscle, it's shaky. And it can't get rid of us. Because I'm still here. You're still here, right? Is it obvious that I'm drunk?
Yep, so the whole... Oh, they're drunk, aren't they? How nice. How nice. Maybe that explains the swinging the microphone around like a lasso.
It's shaky. And it can't get rid of us. Because I'm still here. You're still here, right?
Yeah, so let's stop saying they're saying we don't exist anymore. It's not about your existence. It never has been. It's always been a dishonest line that TRAs use. It's not true. Like, are we gonna frame it honestly, or are we gonna find a way of changing the question so that it matches what we actually want to answer? That's what matters here.
Is it obvious that I'm drunk and also pissed off? So that's what I meant to have gotten to this a little bit late.
Okay, second tip from me to you. Just do it while sober. Write something. Do it while sober. Maybe fix your aspect ratio because it's weird.
As a result, people, you probably have already been
And like, is this person thinking about why they're pissed off, or are they just venting? Because if you're pissed off about something, often it helps to think about why it is that you're pissed off about it. What it is specifically that you're pissed off about. Instead of just sounding off on the internet, swinging your mic around, oh, I know what's going on. They'll never get rid of us. No, they won't, exactly. So what are you fucking freaking out about?
Stuff. So that's what I meant to have gotten to this a little bit late. As a result, people, you probably have already been exposed to the meme of, haha, the way that the conservative /Trump /Republican Party have defined male and female leaves a little bit of a loophole because they obviously don't know how science works. And
I think we're going to get the all fetuses are female, which I've already explained is completely not true. But let's see.
They've made it such that male and female is basically just the same thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is the exact quote. And this is, of course, referring to Trump's executive order titled...
This is going to be all fetuses are female, isn't it? This is going to be all fetuses start out female.
Defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. I wonder if we are done defending women from all of that, whether we will begin to defend women from, the patriarchy, rape culture. I mean, like...
Meaningless statement. No idea what you mean by the patriarchy or rape culture. No idea what actionable things you'd be trying to protect. Fuck me. No idea what actionable things you'd be trying to protect women from exactly. Because you're being vague. It doesn't work. You need to be specific about this kind of shit. This is why no one gets bought in by this shit except other trans people. And this is why it's become such an echo chamber. This is why trans culture has zoomed off into the distance away from every other kind of culture. And no one can relate to us anymore. Talking like this is a fucking problem.
Like maybe in 2028, we just won't let anyone into restrooms. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, this executive order states that a female means a person belonging at conception to the sex...
I'm just waiting for it at this point.
...that produces the large reproductive cell.
Rape culture? You mean letting men into female prison? Nice.
Meaning the egg. And a male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the small reproductive cell, meaning the sperm. And lots of people online have said that this means that that Trump has basically designated everyone's female.
There it is. There it is. There it is. There we go. So when you're conceived, you start off with some kind of intermediate gender, intermediate gonad. I can't remember what the term for it is. Bipotential gonad or something like that. It then develops according to the genetic information that you're given from the sperm. So if you're going to become a boy, what happens is that gonad will develop into male gonad. If you're going to be a female, XX, it's going to develop into a female gonad. Fetuses do not start off female. You can argue that it's more female-like. I was on someone's, I can't remember whose stream it was. Someone was making absurd points in this direction. And they walked it back to like, well, their gonads are more female-like in the womb. And it's like, I don't know if you can fucking tell at that point. Undifferentiated. Yes, thank you. It's really stupid. I'm just going to have to keep going on and on and on about this stupid point until people start understanding that fetuses do not start out female. And the problem is, someone like this could say, oh, it's just a joke. I'm just making fun of the way it's worded. But this is what everyone is fucking saying. So how is it a joke? Exactly.
Because we all do technically start as female from within the egg. We all start as like...
No, we don't. That's a lie. You're just wrong.
A base biologically feminine zygote, which is...
Base biologically feminine zygote. So in the room is the only time you're non-binary for real. Well, yeah, you're not non-binary. You're like pre-sex, but you have a determined sex because of your genetics. And the people that get like DSDs and stuff, something goes wrong within those genetics. There's like mistakes that happen. No, that's not me saying people with DSDs are mistakes. It means that mistakes happen that causes those kinds of issues. It's unclear, but it's decided that conception, best I can tell, because sperm donates either an X or Y. Yeah. So, how the gonad forms is a response to the genetic information that's already there. Like, you're already what you are. You just haven't developed those things yet. Zygotes don't make gametes. True. So how can they be female? Does everyone start off with ovaries? Do your ovaries then turn into testicles? No.
Actually, like a kind of like almost close but not quite understanding of how that works. If anything, we are actually all sort of non-binary from...
Not really either, because non-binary is a gender identity. You can't have a gender identity in the womb. You are like pre-sex, but you still have that genetic information that's going to determine which one you are. Next thing you know, it'll tell us females have long hair and makeup because of society. Yeah, exactly. And every fetus has long hair and makeup and does its nails in the womb, and then has to decide whether it's keeping all of this stuff or whether it's going to take them off and become just a boy, I guess.
Conception, because we don't produce the biological functions, aka we don't produce...
Non-binary people do produce sperm or fucking eggs. What are you talking about? Stop trying to make non-binary a thing. It's not a thing. I'm sorry. Some people feel that way. Fair enough. For the most part, it's just fashion. And it's got nothing to do with your biological sex at all.
Sperm or eggs until much, much later in. However, the language does say to the sex that produces the large or small reproductive cell, which...
Yeah, so your non-binary thing doesn't make sense anyway. Thank you.
Means of the sex that like will eventually produce these, not meaning the individual.
Yes, because it has the genetic information in that. Listen, I'm being anal, I'm pausing a lot. It's because I really need to have some kind of record of why this talking point that I'm hearing everywhere, fucking literally everywhere, is bunk. It's stupid. Like, if this is the best we have, then just give up. Stop being a fucking rights activist. Stop reading all these books that are filling your head with shit, it seems. Just find something else to do. Find some people that love you for who you are. Find some hobbies that you're good at, that you get joy from. And do that instead of proselytizing on the internet. You're mostly right about the thing about ovaries. The tissue that would have been ovarian tissue. Yeah, but that's the thing. They don't start as ovaries. You start with a bipotential gonad that then becomes ovaries or testicles. You don't start with ovaries that then turn into testicles. That's what I'm saying.
Because there are individual cisgender men and individual cisgender women who are born infertile. In addition, this is eradicating...
Yep, and they're still male or female. It's not just producing the gamete, it's supposed to have been producing the gamete. If you've got ovaries, you're still a woman. You've got the stuff that is supposed to make the gametes, even if not. This is the kind of argument that people should have stopped making like 10, 20 years ago, quite frankly.
That like will eventually produce these, not meaning the individuals, because there are individual cisgender men and individual cisgender women who are born infertile. In addition, this is eradicating intersex people entirely.
Not eradicating intersex people. Like, why do you think intersex people exist? Did you know, by the way, intersex people are still male or female? It's mad. It's mad. It's all erasure this, fucking, we're all start as females that. It's all untrue. It's all bullshit.
Entirely from the conversation. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what definition they provide for us. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. You're going to hate it anyway.
And like, I know it's fun to poke the loop.
What is my theory as to why people are trans? I think it comes from various different sources. I think you might displace your like mental health issues on your gender. You might have trauma around a specific gender, and if you're that gender, it might fuck with your perception of that. I'd buy that some people probably are like AGP or whatever. I think that probably does happen. I think it happens for lots of different reasons, and it's kind of hard to pin down. As a matter of fact, there is no way of pinning it down. And if there were a way of pinning it down, the trans rights activist cohort wouldn't be happy about that. They wouldn't accept it because they want it to be someone that anyone can identify as. So I don't know. I'm not claiming I know everything, to be clear.
Loopholes. I know it's so fun to be like, haha, like it says this, and like we as people who actually understand the nuances of gender.
You don't understand the nuances of gender. That's the problem. You've shown. Well, you've made an argument. You had to immediately walk back. You've said erasing intersex people when I just don't think you understand anything about intersex or DSD, should we say? Intersex is a birth defect. Yeah. Like, these people are male or female. There are no 100% pure hermaphrodites. There's no one that makes both gametes. So what gamete do they make? Or what gamete are they set up to make? What's their dominant gonad? You still have ways of sexing people. And if someone has no like obvious way of like how they're sexed, well, I mean, sex is about reproduction. You want to have a null category, then go for it. But like, that doesn't mean there's a third sex. So how is there still not a binary?
And sex, understand that they have not actually properly defined man or woman from a biological or social.
Do they really have to, technically? Do they have to make it the absolute perfect definition of what a male or female is? What definition would this person accept, have they said? Like, what do they consider a male or female? When was the last time someone made one of these videos and actually defined what they consider a male or a female? You know what I mean? But then again, I mean, maybe he's going to do it. Maybe I've paused Andy a bit here. But like, if he does, again, people can like pick it apart. People can look at it and say, that doesn't make any fucking sense for these reasons. So usually they kind of keep it vague and then do all this. Oh, well, to those of us that actually understand, well, you haven't demonstrated understanding.
Construct, standpoint, viewpoint. It doesn't matter. They could even just say male is someone who grows facial hair and female is someone who doesn't.
No, that would be stupid because you'd get women with PCOS, for example, who are now males. And that doesn't make sense because they have ovaries. PCOS. What does the O stand for? Ovary, ovarian. That would be stupid. You know that that is a worse definition, what you're giving, than the one that has been given.
Which is so obviously wrong, but it won't matter to them.
Yeah, much more obviously wrong than their fucking definition. Like, what's your definition? Why won't you say?
Them, because they don't care what the truth is. We are playing such different games, and like at this point, it's gotten to the point where...
Oh, you're definitely playing games, yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to like...
Women have facial hair, it's just lighter. Yeah, true. I mean, even if they were talking about more obvious facial hair, like, it's obvious that that is a worse definition than what's been put out by the government, is what I'm trying to say.
Find the loopholes, haha, tee-hee. They didn't design this with the idea that the definitions that they've created and that the executive orders that they've passed are solid fucking steel, solid bedrock that cannot be...
I don't know. I think they're coming as close as they can, you know what I mean? I don't think they're not caring at all about that. I don't think it has to be completely ironclad, airtight. But I think they're probably coming about as close as they can.
Broken through. They've designed this to perpetuate hate. It also makes it much...
Okay, we're just assuming motivation. Do we know any of this? Listen, sometimes I am going to sound naive because I don't like when people assume intention. And that's going to piss people off all the time. I'm going to get it all the time about this shit, and that's fine. I don't care. I don't like assuming motivation. There has to be a better way if there's an argument against this stuff than saying, oh, well, you're just doing it because you're a bigot. That's like the easiest, most fucking brain dead argument you can possibly make. I could call anyone transphobic for like no fucking reason. Calling something transphobic or born out of hate is just not a good argument, in my opinion.
Much more difficult for people with X as their gender marker to actually legally exist. I follow a...
Well, no, you still legally exist, just not in the way that you'd prefer to.
They've designed this...
I'm pretty sure the kind of people that legally don't exist some of the time are like spies and shit. You know what I mean?
To perpetuate hate. It also makes it much more difficult for people with X as their gender marker to actually legally exist.
That's bullshit. Oh, the iDubbbz abortion argument video. Jesus Christ. Listen, I'm not surprised that he's made a fucking abortion video. And I wouldn't be surprised if he never makes a video on another female topic, another feminist topic. Because most of those people, they just fucking... all they talk about when they go on about how much of a feminist they are is like abortion and like Roe v. Wade. And then you get idiots like fucking Matt Bernstein and ContraPoints will sit there talking about, oh, why doesn't J.K. Rowling talk about Roe v. Wade being overturned? And it's like, she's not from the US, first of all. Second of all, she talks fairly regularly about like the plight of women in like the Middle East. Is that not way worse than what women in the US are experiencing? Like, where are women more oppressed exactly? The Middle East or the US? So is she not prioritizing maybe? But these people don't get it. They seem to equate feminism with abortion. And that's literally fucking it. Being hateful doesn't make you wrong, strictly speaking. Yes, exactly. So we should focus on why they're wrong and stop going on about how hateful everyone is. No one cares. It doesn't matter.
I follow a fellow trans queer content creator who posted something saying that it might be difficult for people with X gender markers on their passports if they're out of the United States to re-enter the United States because...
Well, is this not necessarily a consequence of having a lie on your gender passport, on your passport? Like, these are the things you run into. If the government changes and the new government is not as amenable to your shit as the previous one, there's going to be some problems. Like, sorry about it. Truthfully, if that kind of info is required on your passport, then maybe it should just be correct, no? But you won't engage with any of that shit. You won't engage with that. There's untruths being promoted. Literally using your fucking passport and stuff, which, by the way, you go to a country that doesn't understand what that means. Could that not cause a problem? X gender marker. Yeah.
Because their gender marker is not one supported anymore by this executive board.
What does trans queer mean? Trans and queer basically mean the exact same thing for the purposes. Anyone who calls himself either of those things.
So yes, the loopholes are fun. However, I'm tired of finding them.
I wish they'd shout out the trans queer so I could make fun of them. Wait, no, it's not about making fun of them. It's about debunking. I forgot.
Because we know the other side's not playing by those rules. I've been saying for a while.
Playing by what rules? Like, I hate that people can just feel emboldened to go out and say this kind of shit. He hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. You just go off because you're angry about Donald Trump and you know that people are going to soy out with you and agree with you on everything automatically. It's gross.
Left needs to get better at just kicking shins and spitting in faces. We need to get better at the propaganda that the right is espousing, and I
mean, arguably, yeah, your propaganda sucks so far. What propaganda have you got for us? It's not been working. It's not been working. So let's see.
That we actually care about what the truth is, and I get that we care about what the housing, and I get that we actually care about what the truth.
You don't care what the truth is because you wouldn't be playing credence to arguments about everyone's actually female in the womb.
It is, and I get that we care about what the actual science is, and people can poke.
No, you don't. You care what your version is that validates your choices or your friends' choices or whatever. You've already drank the fucking propaganda. That's the problem. You want more propaganda? You already fucking drank it down. And it sucks. You can come up with more if you wish. You're just going to be stacking lies upon lies at this point.
Poke fun at us because they are working backwards from the conclusions they're working from. But fuck it. Let's just start lying. Sure.
You already have been.
Social and language loopholes exist in this executive order. What I care more about is
Yeah, debunks it after like giving it credence and like saying, well, it's not technically true. Why aren't you calling it out as a lie then? Why aren't you calling it out as something people shouldn't be saying? Because loads of other people are saying it too. I'm pretty sure it says it in the fucking thumbnail. Hang on. Everyone is a woman. Bro, what are you on? Literally in the thumbnail. So you have to watch the video to understand that it's actually not even true what they're saying. They're giving so much credence to this argument and like half-heartedly saying, well, it's not typically true. But we're not telling people not to say stuff like that, even though it's a fucking lie. Like, ridiculous. So this person is already a propagandist. They probably already have been. Let's just start lying. How much lying have you been doing up to this point? In the thumbnails. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. It's more than just, well, technically they're being honest. It's like, well, what's this then? Jesus Christ. And like my 1 year non-binary transition came out to my homophobic family. Like amazing. Getting one side of the story as per usual. I just don't trust any of these people anymore. And now they want to start lying? Egg IRL. Trans memes to make omelets with. Like, are we going to say that this video isn't probably glorifying shit like r/egg IRL? There's some fucking gross shit that goes up on that shit. How are you going to support a claim in the thumbnail and debunk it in the video? Yeah, exactly. Like, it's ridiculous. And he's saying that Trump literally said that. When did he say that? Like, mad. Utterly mad. Anyway.
Can this stand? Theoretically, no. Just because an executive order exists doesn't mean that it will remain in effect forever. For example,
that's true.
Some of the 100 executive orders that Donald Trump signed on his first day of his inauguration canceled some of the executive orders that Biden had in effect. In 4 years, if we elect a Democrat or a Republican who's willing to play ball, then it's possible that...
Willing to play ball. Believe them when they speak. Believe them when they say things about themselves. We just need people willing to play ball with our bullshit. Believe them.
This executive order, the one that I'm making this video about, could be signed out of existence. Rough 4 years ahead of us and also sets a horrible...
How is it a rough 4 years for you? Just get on with your life. And yeah, maybe things will be more complicated in some ways. Just sort them out. Being trans, there's always something else. It's a pain in the fucking ass. That's how it is. Like... Oh my God, if you're not prepared for the realities of this shit, don't fucking transition. It's quite simple. If you're going to cry because there's been a change of government and you're trans and you think you're going to die now, maybe you shouldn't have transitioned. Maybe you're not cut out for this.
Precedent for the fact that every 4 years or...
Can I pop off about sexuality flags? Do they not see the hilarity in the implying a nation thereof? All the gay and asexual nations wouldn't last too long. Yeah, that's true.
8 years, certain demographics just have to fucking cross their fingers and hope and pray. But this doesn't need to stand. Like, just because an executive order exists doesn't mean that there needs to be legislation for it. Congress, which is skewing Republican, but Congress could like either pass legislation against it or not support the legislation that would put it into effect or could block funding for it. However, we are unfortunately looking at a Republican trifecta, Republican president, Republican Supreme Court, because we had a Republican president who personally instated, 2 or 3?
Yeah, which is in his right. It's a bit like Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden. It was in his right, ultimately.
I think, of the current Supreme Court justices, in addition to a Republican Congress. We are outnumbered in both the House of Representatives.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess the bathroom bill got lots of attention. The women's sports bill, not so much. They seem more They seem more concerned about the executive order. Like, Jesus Christ.
By, I believe it is 215 to 220. And in the Senate, we are outnumbered 47 to 53. While it is possible...
Should have voted more. Should have got more people to vote. Should have suggested people to not get on the American Western pro-Palestine brain rot and vote for the people that you think they're going to save you. Do you think they're going to get thrown in a gulag by customs because their passport says F instead of M? Well, I mean, Jesus, depending on what country you go to, it might kind of seem like you're trying to enter under false pretenses. Surely you've got to be careful with that shit, no?
And has been possible that Congress could block an executive order. I wouldn't bet that our current Congress, especially with a 2/3 majority, which is the vote that is necessary to block something like this, would be willing to come up to swing at the bat for us. However, executive orders have been blocked before. The major executive order that was overturned under legal jurisdiction was President Truman's attempt to place all of the country's steel mills under federal control during the Korean War to help the war effort. And this was deemed unconstitutional in, I believe, Youngstown Sheet and Tube Co. versus Sawyer because it attempted to make law.
This is just like cope. Well, it could happen technically. Here's my example. It's got fuck all to do with any of this situation.
The Supreme Court's job and the president's job in executive orders is to interpret rather than to create. Even Trump's executive orders have been overturned in the past. His order to prevent immigration from Muslim-majority countries back during his first term was overturned by the lower court. However, that overturning was also then overturned by the Supreme Court. Truly none of this matters because of the fact that it even happened in the first place. Social dynamics precede law, precede social dynamics. Yeah?
Social dynamics precede law, blah, blah, blah. You think they're kind of trying to understand why this is happening? I don't know.
Why the fuck aren't you here with my six?
Because I'm filming a video.
So pause it, we finish it when you get home. Get here, now.
Baby, okay, I'll be on my way in like 5.
Okay, I'm gonna call you in 5.
All right, call me in 5. Guess what I'll be doing?
Well,
All right.
as soon as we hang up.
All right, you do that. I can finish this up.
I will.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Lisette, I love you so much and I can't wait to see you.
I love you and I can't wait to see you. I'll call you in 5.
Do you really have to do this to pretend that you have friends or a girlfriend or whatever? It's a bit sad, bro. It's a bit sad.
Mwah.
Aw, bitch.
Mwah, ho. What was I even talking about?
Yeah, that sounded like canned. That sounded pre-recorded. Yeah, it's quite a few. What is a social dynamic? I mean, I don't know, it'd be nice if they defined most of the terms they use, quite honestly.
Some people are like, hey, morality's complex. Hey, morality's cultural. Hey, like, everyone
What do you even know about morality, quite frankly?
has a different set of morals. No, I think morals are just the things that you don't want to have happen to you, and you just are a decent enough person to want to make sure that doesn't happen to anyone.
Morals are just the things that you don't want to happen to you.
The things that you don't want to have is cultural. Hey, like, everyone has a different set of morals.
Listen, I might as well see what the general definition of morals is. A lesson that can be described, standards of behavior. I guess you could put it that way. It's a very strange way of putting it. Oh, hi Anna. Hope you're good. Ooh, not this one.
No, I think morals are just the things that you don't want to have happen to you, and you just are a decent enough person to want to make sure that doesn't happen to anyone else.
Okay, geez, I don't fucking know, man. Bizarre. Weren't you just talking about kicking more shit? Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't know. These people need to stop recording their fucking freakouts whilst drunk in what looks like the middle of the day, judging by the lighting. I could be wrong. Maybe the bisexual lighting is very powerful.
Right? And then you kind of try to lobby to make sure that legalmente there are consequences for if that does happen to other people that aren't you. Right?
That's extremely oversimplified. I don't think you really understand morality as well as you think you do. And if you do understand morality, then obviously not while drunk.
And then if you're an asshole, you do the opposite. You kind of lobby to make sure that laws are put in place to...
See, this is the thing. I get the impression there's another one of those people that think that what am I trying to say here? That think that everyone that disagrees with them, everyone that pushes legislation that isn't what they want, sits around all day stroking a cat or stroking their mustache thinking, how can I fuck with queer people today? It just doesn't exist like that. It's just not how people are. Obviously they think there's some good that they're doing, which is why morals isn't just, well, if you're a good person, you be good, and if you're a bad person, you be bad. That's moronic.
stuff like that does happen to people who aren't you. So really, honestly, like, this executive order could be overturned tomorrow. However, I think the damage is already done. Like, there is more damage if it stays in place, obviously.
This was 2 days ago. Well, I wouldn't want someone to convince me to get body-altering surgery when psychiatric treatment should be just as effective. Yeah, fair enough.
Because, like, there are legal blockades. Like, people can have difficulties, like, getting passports that match their gender identity.
There's also problems on the other side. It'd be nice if you acknowledged any of them, such as allowing males to self-identify as women and get into women's spaces can cause problems in, like, prisons and rape centers. It can cause problems when males are entering women's sports and beating the women at their own sports, when they could be going in the men's sports, where women, for the most part, are not able to enter into and then defeat them. Because taking testosterone is juicing, and females in most sports are not competitive with males because males are bigger and stronger. Why do so many gender spectrum people act like they're on the spectrum? A lot of them are on the spectrum. There's a surprising amount of people who are both trans and autistic.
Can have a difficult time suing if a teacher or a boss or an employee misgenders them, right? Or
why would you want it? Why would you want someone to be able to sue someone for misgendering you? That's nuts.
People can have a difficult time suing if a teacher or a boss or an employee getting past are legal blockades. Like, people can have difficulties, like, getting passports that.
Well, no. You can just get a passport that says what your sex is. Like, it's not difficult.
Match their gender identity.
Why should it match gender? Oh my god, I hate this. I hate this so much. None of them ever engage in, like, very basic questions about all of this shit. And, like, trying to get anyone to engage in this shit is incredibly difficult. I guess I'll go into that a bit more because I have something that I have a personal fucking investment in, I guess. But, like, why would you want that, like, to be possible? Why would we want to make a bunch of laws based around gender identity when gender identity isn't real? It's something you come up with in your head and decide you were that thing. It's not actually real. Do you think trans people are generally more reasonable in real life? I think if I spoke to a trans person in real life, they'd probably be more reasonable than they're going to be in their videos. But the truth is, what I found, well, I mean, we already know this. All these people that are on the internet spewing crazy shit, they're real people. They're out there somewhere. There was a place in the city that I live in. And, like, they had a massive influence on all of the trans people around here, pretty much. And what I found was, all of the trans people I knew IRL, they act exactly the same as the people that act crazy on the internet. There's no difference anymore to me. And that's what broke me, you know what I mean? So are they more reasonable in real life? You'll probably find more reasonable trans people in real life, because instead of doing this kind of shit, they're off working and living their lives, like, actually. But the truth is, this shit is, like, far more than just on the internet. Anyway.
Blockades. Like, people can have difficulties, like, getting passports that match their gender identity. People can have a difficult time suing if a teacher or a boss or an employee misgenders them, right?
That is nuts. You're talking about the new leader of the free world. You don't want a free world. Like, fuck me. Misgendered. How can it be misgendered if you're a male and get called a he?
Or if someone's prevented from being employed, or if someone is fired as a result of gender identity. I'm sorry, I'm so
disgusting. You know you can edit things out, right?
Prevented from being employed, or if someone is as a result of gender identity. I'm sorry, I'm so.
I can't even fucking concentrate on the stupid fucking sentence he is saying. Just give me a sec. Prevented from being employed if someone is fired as a result of gender identity. Here's the thing. How would you prove that your gender identity is the reason you were fired? A lot of these protections, I think I agree that they should probably exist. That you probably shouldn't be able to discriminate against people, like, as an employer. But the truth is, if you have a law like that in place, and they want to fire you, maybe they do want to fire you because your gender identity is weird. Maybe that's literally all there is to it. They'll just find another way around it. They'll just find ways of justifying firing you that have got nothing to do with your gender identity. It's going to be hard to get employed if you keep suing over every little personal infraction. Yes, very true. To be clear, I don't think this person calls himself a woman, so they at least have that going for them. So ladylike, yeah, I know, right? Fucking hell. Hang on.
Sorry, I'm so drunk. While that is like jail time, and while that is fines, and while that is penalties, and while that is a lack of economic stability, a lack of like career opportunities, a lack of like security, and the idea that like I can continue to work my 9 to 5 without wondering if my boss can get away with misgendering me.
How do you misgender you anyway? Hang on. How does this person get misgendered? Like they, she, he, it. Then you can't be misgendered. Then what's your fucking problem? What are you actually fucking so upset about?
Socially, like this has opened a can of worms. We, for better or for worse, look to our mentors, look to the president for moral guidance, which...
Well, it doesn't seem like you actually do. Who do you actually look to for moral guidance? You're not going to be looking at your president. I'm sorry. You're going to be looking at like other YouTubers and like fucking so-called thought leaders. I would love to know who any of these people look up to. I think I can guess. I think I have a pretty good idea. I mean, look at the fucking lighting for one thing. This person's definitely watched ContraPoints in their time.
Sucks. Even if courts were to get this thrown out, it's already been stated loudly by the most powerful person in our nation.
What, the men are men and women are women? Wow. Can't take any content creators seriously if they're drunk on their job. This person needs to grow up. Yeah, they're all just freaking out. These people are upset and just expressing that upset, which I understand in a way, but like it just comes out as fear-mongering and bullshit and poorly thought out.
Now, this is okay. Now, it's okay to say that certain people don't deserve rights. It's okay to say that certain people deserve to suffer.
But no one's saying that. No one's saying you don't deserve rights. They just don't recognize your made-up gender identity.
In our nation.
Like, do you think that people don't deserve the right to think for themselves on whether you're a man or a woman? Or if you don't care about yourself, a trans woman? This is the problem, by the way. There is no fucking point, and I don't give a shit if this offends people or bothers people. There's no fucking point whatsoever in acknowledging your birth sex, but then being like, oh, well, it's different for other people. Those trans women are definitely still women. There's no point. Like, you're full of shit to me.
Now, this is okay. Now, it's okay to say that certain people don't deserve rights. It's okay to say that certain people deserve to suffer.
And we just essentialize based on what? Based on what?
For an ideology that we're not even espousing. An ideology that is being pushed against us.
What is this based on? Just give anything whatsoever. Just anything.
Trump was saying that fucking bullshit of like, can't wait to get gender ideology.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're going to drunkenly rant about something, you're kind of rolling the dice. If you're correct, then yeah, it might be pretty fucking epic. If you're just talking shite, then it's just embarrassing. Oh, hi, Clash Royale. We're watching Trump wages war against trans people by Too Depressed to Laugh. Hope you're good.
Out of our public and private lives. And I was like, I'm just existing. You're the one who's saying I'm not allowed to.
You're not just existing. And no one's saying you're not allowed to. They just don't recognize how you perceive your own existence. And that's fine. No one has to, in fact. And most people don't anyway. Let's be fucking real. And like just existing, you don't get to say that you're just existing when you're going on the internet, telling people how to think, telling people how to perceive, like legislation and stuff, kind of contributing to freaking people out more is what you're doing. You're not just living your life. I'm not just living my life either. If you were just living your life, you'd be doing your job and coming home and spending time with the people that you love and spending time doing your hobbies and shit. I was what I was for ages. For a long time, I was one of those trans people that was just trying to live my life. But it became a bit impossible for a lot of different reasons. You know what I mean? That exist argument comes up a lot. Yep, it's one of the strongest arguments we have and is dog shit.
You're the one who's constantly saying that this is an issue. It feels like there's this breath that's been released.
Well, yeah, the problem is people have been saying this is an issue. People have been saying that there's issues in like women's sports, in women's prisons, in women's spaces, lots of things. Y'all just aren't listening. You'll just write it off. No, that's just transphobia. No, that's just transphobia. No, that's just transphobia. So what are you going to say now? Holy shit. You haven't been listening, bruv. That's not fucking our fault.
Way to get gender ideology out of our public and private lives. And I was like, I'm just existing. You're the one who's saying I'm not allowed to. You're the one who's constantly saying that this is an issue.
Yeah. Well, why not engage with the actual fucking issues then? Why not listen to what people have to say?
It feels like there's this...
Yeah, if you can't remember, it disappears. There's a link to my shit on Spotify in the description. And you should check the links in my description anyway. What's happening? There we go.
Breath that's been released on one side while the other starts to hold it. There's this group of people who have been like waiting to be homophobic, waiting to be transphobic on...
You haven't been listening at all. Not to me right now. You haven't been listening to the actual arguments. You're probably one of those people that's been writing it all off as transphobia. Oh, thank you, Clash Royale. Thank you. You've probably been writing it off as transphobia. Hey, I'm spitballing. And you haven't been listening. That's what's happening. None of y'all are listening. I know this for a fact. People find any reason they can to like ignore the shit that I'm saying. Oh, you're mean about people's appearances. Okay, well, what about the many fucking points I made? Oh, well, your stuff just seems like you're trying to insult trans people. Okay, what about the many fucking points I make in my fucking videos? You know what I mean? It's so annoying. And this is the result. You get drunken idiots on stream that talk utter shite. Streamlabs Premium. I might look into it.
There's this group of people who have been like waiting to be homophobic.
Who are you talking about? You don't understand the other side whatsoever, so why talk about it?
Waiting to be transphobic on main for 4 years, and now they finally can be. And we're going to have to really see what that leads to.
Yeah, I don't know that people are waiting for Donald Trump. I know they're waiting for Donald Trump so they can speak their mind. I think people have been speaking their mind anyway. And if you listen to them, you might understand what their actual concerns are. Plenty of us, I'm fucking trans myself. I don't want to kill all fucking trans people. I just think that there's certain issues that we should be engaging with instead of ignoring. Like, this is nuts. You haven't been listening. And now you want to talk about all the fucking transphobia. Then fucking listen.
There's no way it's been 5 minutes.
You remember when you said I wouldn't call you back in 5?
Has it been 5?
I set a timer and it just went off, you motherfucker.
All right. I'll wrap this up.
What do you mean we'll wrap this up? You should have already been on the way.
All right. I'll wrap this up.
Grow your own planter man. Okay, no idea what that means. Boring.
What do you mean we'll wrap this up? You should have already been on the way.
I lied. Okay, leave me alone. I'm on my way. All right. So obviously I have to leave. Basically, what I want to say is, as always, no matter how hard this is, we've been through harder as a community. Stick together. Find volunteer opportunities in your community. Find safe online spaces. There's a Discord in my...
Safe online spaces. There aren't safe online spaces. Online spaces for trans people are only any good for progressive trans people. And you're going to get lied to over and over. Is it safe to be in a place where you're getting bullshitted over and over? Is it safe to be in a space where people will, for example, do what the person we were watching earlier does and play defense for people who don't say that they're trans, who then get fucking injured, get fucking killed, for example? Grow your own dope planter man. Oh, okay, I get it now. Fair enough. Thank you.
Link in my description. Link right now. Click on it.
This is going to age very poorly if you ever get fucking grooming allegations against you. I'm just saying. Hey, we got Patreon. How nice. Maybe I should start fucking Patreon. I don't know. 14.15 a month. I mean, small channel. It's kind of what you expect.
Join us. We'll talk about queer shit. Because here's the thing. I'm going to be queer. I'm still going to transition. I'm still non-binary. I don't care what the fucking law says. I care a little bit. I am very pissed off. With that being said, socially,
You haven't taken any time to think about why it is you're pissed off. You've made it very clear that all the things people have been saying that are actual, tangible, real points that are, a problem because of how trans has gone. You haven't been listening. And you still want to judge people. You still want to write people off as transphobic. I mean, I get this kind of shit all the time. I shouldn't be surprised. Anyway, that was cooked as fuck. Amazing. We don't have enough trans queer channels on the internet that talk absolute bollocks and openly don't care about lying, because this person has been lying a huge amount. Let's be real. Yeah, pretty awful.